Hi, welcome once again to M5's English language learning program, Let's Speak English. I'm Gav Duncan and I'm here on your TV to help you learn English. Now, are you sitting comfortably? Yes? Good. And are you ready for today's lesson? Yes? Good. Okay, well, let's learn English together. And welcome to the studio. Yes, that's right. My chickens of the forest, my gnus of the plain, my armadillos of the jungle. It's M5. And here on your TV, it's time for some more. What? English, culture, language, TV, scaly anteater. Okay, great. Now we've all seen a scaly anteater. Magic. So it's probably time for us to get started on today's lesson. Go away, scaly anteater. Scat! Get out of here. Okay, it's gone. Good. Now we can concentrate on today's lesson. And yes, you know it. It's time for us to practice the definite and indefinite articles. Yes, hang on to your hats. It's exercise time. So, in the following sentences, I'd like you to decide whether we need an indefinite article or a definite article to complete the sentence. Obviously, if the correct answer is the indefinite article, then you'll also have to decide if it's a or an. Let's do the first one together, shall we? Number one, my next door neighbor is mechanic. We can ask him for advice about your scooter. Okay, so in this sentence, we can see that there are two gaps, two places where we can put an article, either the indefinite or the definite article, either a or an or the. So, let's have a look at the first gap first. Well, we're talking about my next door neighbor, the man who lives next door to me. And we're talking about his occupation, about his job, about what he does to make a living, what he does to make money. We use the indefinite article when we're talking about jobs. We don't ask, are you teacher? We ask, are you a teacher? We don't say, Károlj Gábor is musician and composer. We say, Károlj Gábor is a musician and a composer. We don't say Magnum P.I. is famous detective with silly moustache. We say Magnum P.I. is a famous detective with a silly moustache. We don't say this is Choba, he's sound engineer. We say this is Choba, he's a sound engineer. Okay. So that means that we also know we have to say he's a mechanic, not he's mechanic. Good. Now, what about the next part? Now here we have to be a little bit careful. Think back to when we first met the idea of the indefinite article. There are certain words which are normally uncountable. And if we're using an uncountable noun, we remember that we don't use indefinite articles. For example, we don't say it's a nice weather today because weather is uncountable. And if it's uncountable, then we can't use a or an with it. We can't use the indefinite article with uncountable nouns. So, when we're talking about the weather, then we say it's nice weather today. It's a nice weather today. It's nice weather today. There are also some other uncountable nouns that we have to be careful with. Bread. I went to the shop to buy a bread. I went to the shop to buy bread. Furniture. They've got some very nice furnitures in their flat. They've got some very nice furniture in their flat. Information. If you need an information, you should ask a policeman. If you need information, you should ask a policeman. One other word which is normally uncountable is the word advice. which means that in our example sentence, the second gap should remain empty. We don't say an advice, we just say advice. I asked my doctor for an advice. I asked my doctor for advice. Okay, so the completed example sentence is this. My next door neighbour is a mechanic. We can ask him for advice about your scooter. Great! Well, we've seen the example. Now let's have a look at the rest of them. Number 2, I had boiled egg and piece of toast for breakfast. Number 3, I heard knock on door. I opened door and there was giraffe in sunglasses standing there. Number 4, just as plane was taking off, woman sitting near me started screaming. Number 5, there was murder here this morning. Where's body? Body's gone. Well, how do you know that there was murder then? Okay, so how did you get on? Were they all as easy as eating chocolate? Or were they as hard as eating raw giraffe toenails? Well, let's find out. Let's have a look at the answers together, shall we? Okay, so first things first. Let's begin at the beginning and start at the start with number 2. Okay, so let's have another look at number 2 then, shall we? Number 2, I had boiled egg and piece of toast for breakfast. Okay, well, it seems simple enough, doesn't it? Yes, and in fact it is simple enough, but there is a twist. So let's go through it step by step, shall we? Well, the first gap is simple enough. We need the indefinite article, because we're not talking about an egg that we all know. We're not talking about a specific egg. This isn't the last egg in the kitchen, or the flat, or the world. No, this is just an egg. One of many that there are. This is just a boiled egg. One of many millions of boiled eggs in the village, town, city, capital city, county, region, country, continent, world, universe. So, we need the indefinite article. Now, which one do we need? Are we going to use a or an? Well, if we were talking about an egg, then because egg starts with a vowel, we'd use an. But here, we're talking about a boiled egg, and boiled starts with a consonant, which means that we're going to use a. So, the first gap is a. Okay, what about the next gap? Well, when we think about it, it's the same logic as the first one, isn't it? Yes, there isn't just one piece of toast in the world. This isn't a specific piece of toast. This is just one of the many billions of pieces of toast in the universe. So, we need the indefinite article. And again, which one do we need? A or an? Well, toast starts with a consonant, so we need a piece of toast. Great, simple. And now the last one. And this is the one with the twist. And what's the twist? Does anyone remember? That's right. We don't use articles with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We say, I had muesli for breakfast, not I had muesli for the breakfast. We say, I had pizza for lunch, not I had pizza for a lunch. We say, what did you have for dinner? We don't ask, what did you have for the dinner? So, the last one remains as it is. We don't need anything here. We don't need a or an, and we don't need the. breakfast is fine on its own. So, get ready, chickens of the forest. Here it comes. Here's the complete sentence. Number 2, I had a boiled egg and a piece of toast for breakfast. Great, but, oh no, we're out of time. Yes, there's no time to finish the exercise because here she is. That's right, ladies and gents, it's time once again for our favourite fish. Here she is again, back with more info about football. It's Enid Fotherington Smythe. What's up, people? Hello, it's me, Enid. And I've come back to the studio to tell you some more about what I've learned about football. Now, the last time I talked to you about the game of football, I told you about how the game was restarted after one of the teams scored a goal. Now, I've learned some more too. The game is divided or split into 2 halves. There are 2 halves to every football game. Each half is meant to last for 45 minutes. After the first half has finished, the referee blows a whistle and the players stop playing and leave the pitch. The players go to their dressing rooms. There are 2 dressing rooms, 1 for each team. The players who are playing at home, the ones who play at the football pitch regularly, change in the home dressing room. And the players who are visiting the other team's football pitch change in the visitors' dressing room. So, before each football match starts, each team gets changed in their own dressing room, and then the coach. That's the person who works out the tactics, the person who developed the plan to win. Anyway, the coach tells the players what they have to do. At half-time, when the referee blows a whistle to indicate that 45 minutes are up, the players give the ball back to the referee and leave the pitch. They go into the dressing rooms and sit down and have a drink of water and a chocolate bar. Then the coach talks to the team and gives them more instructions. In football, the players get 15 minutes for half-time and then they go back onto the pitch. When they go back onto the pitch this time, they change ends. This is to make sure that both teams get to start play in both sides of the pitch. Now, when they start play after half-time, the team which didn't kick off at the beginning of the match get to kick off now. So, if Team A won the toss and kicked off at the start of the match, at half-time, Team B kick off. Again, this is to make sure that both teams get a fair chance. Oh, I think I'm really starting to understand this game, this football. And, oh, is that the time? Oh, good Godfrey, I'll have to go. I don't want to be late. I promised Keith that I'd take him to the park. You see, he wants to play football with me in the park. I don't want to keep him waiting. We all know that Keith doesn't react well to that. Right, I'm off. Toodaloo, pip pip, chitty bye. And she's gone, slipping away into the shadows, rushing back home to pick Keith up. And from there, to the park. Look out, football. Here comes Enid and Keith. Keith is a bit like Vinnie Jones when he plays football. You have to keep your distance. Okay, well, they're off to the park to practice their football skills, and us? Well, our 15 minutes of practicing our English skills has come to an end for today. So, until tomorrow, if you want to practice some more, you know where you have to go, don't you? Yes, that's right, www.m5tv.hu. Okay, so you know where you can go to study some more. And if that's not enough, then you also know that we'll be back on your screens tomorrow afternoon. So, until then, farewell, adieu, and bye. See you later. Have fun. Bye.